beautiful Chiang Mai Thailand. I've been making videos here now for about 6 weeks, but there's something I've been noticing you, man, since you're very cute. And that is...
Smoky season. I've been keeping my content on this channel really positive and happy so far, and that's because, well, I've been doing lots of positive things, but one thing that I haven't been sharing with you, especially in the last few weeks, is everything that I've been filming, every day I've been filming, I've been stuck in this thick, sludgy smoke, and it's been horrible. Part of my job as a content creator is to not only show you what I see, but also how I feel when I'm there, and I haven't shown you or told you any of that yet. But today we're going to be tackling exactly what is smoky season, when does it happen, why does it happen, and how can you avoid it or survive it if you come to Thailand, specifically Bangkok, the central areas, and unfortunately the worst, the ground zero really, is up here in the north, especially in Chiang Mai. So let's go. So what is smoky season? Well, it's pretty basic. It's basically a time of year, a season, where the air turns polluted and it's really hot, dry and extremely smoky. And the air quality goes from being very low to unhealthy to even hazardous, and you have to wear protective gear just to go outside so you don't get sick and develop really unhealthy symptoms. When is it? Well, it can be quite annoyingly long. It starts to sort of get bad even as early as November, and it can't go away until sometimes as late as May. However, it is almost unbearable in March and April, and right now we're in March, and I've actually been waiting a long time to film this video because it's been terrible. The air quality has been awful. Even just walking from just like 50 meters outside the other day, my sore throat started to swell and my eyes were like watering. But today there's a bit of air and airflow and wind, and it's blown most of the worst away. We're actually not on a bright red or a purple day, which I'll talk about later. It's more kind of like dark orange today. So I thought, ooh, it's not that bad. I'll come out, take my mask off and talk to you about this bloody thing. But yeah, March and April, definitely the worst months, but expect it to go on for 4 to 5 months on and off. Yeah, it's getting bad, guys.
So why does the smoky season happen every year?
Well, it is a difficult and complicated and hard to understand topic, but here are some of the reasons why it definitely happens, and then we'll talk a little bit more in a minute. But basically, farming, burning, wild mushroom farming and hunting, pollution from humans obviously is one, and the fact that it's just super hot and dry all comes together. Forest fires, man-made and natural, just all of these things are a giant cocktail for the worst time of the year living in Thailand, and especially up north. I want to say a big thank you to Glenn Johnson. He is a subscriber of the show. He lives further north than Chiang Mai, really in the middle of the rice field farming communities, and he reached out to me. He said, oh listen, I know you're going to do a video about smoky season, let me send you some footage. And so I want to thank you, Glenn. I'll link his channel below if you want to find more information about what it's like to live in really rural northern Thailand. And he mentions in his video, which I want to share with you, he says that the local farmers, especially the rice farmers where he lives, and the sugarcane farmers that live further south in between the north and Bangkok, they finish their crop around about this time, around about end of February, and the government control a huge amount of water, and if they have enough, they release those dams and release that into the system. And so farmers in the north and in central Thailand, sometimes if the water level's high enough, get the opportunity to get a second yield. And so to get ready for that, they panic and chop everything up and burn it all. Now normally, Glenn says that, you know, in the Western countries, they just chop up all the dead rice, the dead crops, the dead corn, the dead sugarcane, and they just let it fertilize naturally, break down naturally, and it takes 6 months or sometimes longer, and that's the natural progression of things. You grow, you harvest, you cut it down, you let it decompose, and then you go again a few months later. But the Thai farmers just don't have the financial incentive to do that, and instead, because they don't have access to machinery or any kind of financial subsidy, I mean, what would you do if you had the opportunity to make double money, but you had to have it ready in case the government just said, hey, your water's going to get switched on again? So thank you, Glenn, for that. I didn't know that, so really interesting, and thank you. And go check out Glenn if you want to learn more about rural life in those communities. The wild mushroom thing, that's a strange one. I didn't learn about that till last year when this entire mountain that I'm on right now was on fire. Some people said that that was mushroom farmers. Local people sneaking up into the mountain, creating low-lying forest fires, semi-controlled, but probably not that controlled, to be honest. And then for some reason, I'm not quite sure why, but the fire creates the environment for these mushrooms to grow, and these mushrooms are really, really expensive and valuable. And they're trying to ban these mushrooms to be on sale, just to put these farmers off, or these dudes off. But yeah, the reality of the situation is, see, this doesn't help the situation. Hi. A lot of black smoke just came out of that truck. And this is another reason, right? Human pollution. Obviously, all year in Bangkok and in Chiang Mai, there's a lot of pollution caused by cars, trucks, tuk-tuks, planes, everything, right? However, when you have this low-lying cloud of smoke and pollution on top of your city, and then you create these awful gases, they mix together. There's no way for that gas to get out and go up and attack the ozone layer. It gets stuck under this blanket of smoke and mixes into a cocktail of toxic gas. So yes, humans make a huge impact, but to be honest, the smoke, the low-lying heavy smoke that comes from the farming is the main reason. Forest fires, natural occurring forest fires, obviously in March and especially in April, it can get to 40 degrees Celsius every single day, and it hasn't rained here for months, and so everything is bone dry and just dying to just set on fire. And so when you do have local farmers, when you do have mushroom farmers starting these smaller fires or creating these fires, obviously those embers get sucked up into the air and land in the dry forests and start even more forest fires. And then if a random storm comes by and the lightning hits an old dead tree and starts that fire, yeah, that's a natural forest fire, and they do happen. 3 days ago, there was a huge forest fire just 2 mountains behind us here, and it was on the news, all over Facebook. That caused the air pollution to be so crazy here. It was unbearable for like 3 days, and I've been waiting to come out and film this video, but the air quality was just so bad, and it's going to get back to that level. And I just can't wait to get away. We've got like 2 more weeks left before I can leave. My job finishes and I can take you to the south of Thailand where there is no smoke pollution today. So I'm looking forward to that. If you're thinking, Paddy, like, can we see some before and after footage so we can see, like, is it that bad? Come on, is it that bad? My good friend Josh, he lives in Pai, and how you doing, Josh? We'll come and have a drink soon. He has a really cool little viewpoint on the side of the road near his house, and he took this gorgeous photograph. Looks amazing. Look at the views, look at the sky, look at the mountains. And then on a day where there's been forest fires and the smoky season is in full swing, same place, same view, look at the difference. It is complete Armageddon, complete end of the world. And that's what it looks like in Pai on that one bend. But you know, I go for a run, or I try to go for a run every evening to keep fit or as possible. And here's some footage when I went for a run in February, when there was the day after a big storm and it cleared away the sky. And just look how beautiful it is, and then look how bad it was a few days ago when I decided to take this camera out just to get some before and after footage. The air quality is, like, I can taste it in my mouth. It's disgusting. And this little bar, which, you know, where I was running earlier, when you saw the footage on my phone, now I just come here and I walk, because I don't want to run and get all this, like, smoke in my back of my throat, because you literally cough it up and spit out black stuff if you do run for an extended period of time or hang out for an extended period of time outside. And up on that overpass there, I went up there and I got footage 360. But there's no point me going up there just to show you a comparison, because there literally is nothing to see. You can see here, like the mountain, Doi Sutet mountain, the mountain right next to Chiang Mai in my home, is barely visible. And today is a red day. It's not even purple. It will get worse, become towards the middle of March, the end of March. It will become literally purple, hazardous. Twice as bad as this. I'll need to wear 2 masks. Anyway, the final point I want to make today is, if you are going to come to Chiang Mai in the months when it is smoky or a little bit smoky or really smoky, if you have no option, then I'll tell you how you can survive it, okay? Because I have to put up with it, and everybody living down there has to put up with it. So we have learnt there are ways to adapt and there are ways to get through it, but it's still miserable. If you want to know how to avoid it, well, it's simple. Don't come to northern Thailand or Bangkok in the months of March and April. Avoid it. Go south, move south. But you know, a lot of people don't have that privilege, or they don't have that ability. Like me. I can't just up sticks and go to the south of Thailand right now. I have to wait. And then as soon as I can, I'm gonna leave. But a lot of people don't have that as well. So let me tell you how we do it. And it's not just masks, there are other cool, interesting ways.
Oh no, oh shit, holy moly, smoky season, Chiang Mai Thailand.
Whew, okay, welcome to my house. Now, if you are living through smoky season and you just don't have the option to leave, then that's okay, that's okay. So you just need basically to do 3 things. The first thing is stay indoors as much as you can, because once you've got the aircon on and you've got your air filters going, then that's going to be fine. The air in your home or in your office will be nice and clean and breathable, and you won't have any symptoms of sore throat, bad cough, black stuff in your nose, irritated eyes, that kind of thing. And then obviously the second thing is to get a air purifier, and then to get N95 masks. So let me talk about the air purifiers first. Basically, from what I've seen in my experience living in Thailand, there are basically 3 types. You can get the really expensive ones from that MI company, that Mai company, or Moi, I don't know how you pronounce it, I think it's from China. But they start at $200 to $300, and they go all the way up to $400-500 for the big ones. I would imagine they're probably the best, but they're so expensive. My housemates, in their room, they actually have the small one. And in our school and in our offices, we have those ones. But they're so expensive. And then we do have like another brand, which is kind of like a medium price one. I think it's about $100 to $250. That one's in our living room, and that one's a bit weird. It's got a weird LCD system on there, whatever. But it does the job. Again, it was actually a gift to us, so we didn't buy it, so we keep that in the living room, and we turn that on when we need that on. And then in my room, I have an air developer. An air developer is definitely the most budget-friendly one you can get. They are about 1,500 bahts, which is about $50 US. So much cheaper than the other brands, and the best part is they're made in Chiang Mai. They're a Thai-based company, and the reason why they're so cheap is they're just made out of 2 parts. You've got the filter, and then this is the fan, and look, it literally comes off, and then you can see in here, this is how it works. It's super simple, so they don't overcomplicate it, and you can hear it going. It's not too loud. Actually, it's really nice. And you can get a pink one, you can get a blue one, and then the good thing is when you do come home and you want to blast your house or your room, you can turn it full up to max, and it will go crazy loud, but it will clean your room of any particles in a few minutes, and then turn it back down to the low setting, which is great for when you're sleeping, when you're working, and you know that you're breathing clean, filtered air. And on the box, funnily enough, it does say clean air is not a privilege, and I know what they're trying to say, and And the good thing is that because it is the cheapest option, and it, it's made of plastic and it's super cheap, it is making it more accessible to, normal working Thai people and normal working people in general. Because unfortunately, the really expensive ones from China, not everyone's got that much money. That's definitely a privileged thing to have, but luckily these kind of products are coming out now. I'll put a link in the description for you so you can check out this company, Air Developer, and I encourage you to buy them because they're made locally and they look kind of cute. Aww. And then let me show you the masks. So yes, we all know these kind of masks, right? These medical masks, we have to wear these everywhere in Thailand and probably where you live as well, to stop the spread of you-know-what. But this does nothing because the PM2.5 particle, the really tiny, minute particle that is in the air during smoky season and is caused by the smoky season, passes through this no problems and straight into your lungs through your nose and mouth. You have to get these 3M branded masks. They come in all types of design, but they're normally kind of ugly looking. They're a bit thicker. When you put them on, you feel the difference. You definitely can't work out in these. If you go for a run or a bike ride, it just gets so incredibly hot in here. The air comes through and that filters through this thing, and so it's actually quite dirty. I don't know if you can see, but mine's actually already starting to get black residue on there from driving around for the last few days. And you can buy these in loads of shops in Thailand, and at least when you're walking around in the real world outside, this is protecting you. So air filters protect you at home and at work when you're sleeping. These 3M N95 proper masks, again, these are a little bit more expensive, not too expensive though. And again, if you unfortunately, if you're watching this and you think that this mask is going to protect you, I've got some bad news for you, because this stuff is basically, yes, it probably stops water molecules and the spread of viruses and things, but you need one of these. And you can buy them batch online, you can buy them in shops in Thailand. They make your ears do this annoying little thing. Look, you see this? Normal ear, mask ear. So you need this, and you need the filter. And you need to stay indoors if you can. And that is how you survive. Which is, it's not the best state of a play, is it? Especially when you live in a beautiful, normally, incredibly beautiful place like Chiang Mai. Okay, that is the end of my smoky season video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had to be honest with you about it. I had to make a video about it so that, a lot of you have been watching my videos, leaving really nice comments saying, I can't wait to come back to Thailand. Oh, I can't wait to go to Chiang Mai. And then if you got here, especially in March and April, you'd be having a massive go at me. Like, why didn't you tell me about smoky season? It's awful. So there you go. There's my disclaimer now, my get out of jail free card. Just before I leave, I want to plug what's going on, me and this bike, and you guys. If you subscribe, we're going to be going to every single province of Thailand. It might take us about a year, and I'm so excited. We leave in less than, just over 2 weeks we leave. Middle to late March, and we're going to head right down south. And one of the reasons why I chose to start in the south is to get as far away from this pollution as possible. So thank you for watching. Subscribe for more adventures and more positive videos, and yeah, let me know what you think about the whole smoky season situation. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.